I know, boys. Yeah! Good on you, Thomas Burgess! Good on you, Tommy! South Sydney! Yes! Yes! Go! Yes! South Sydney! South Sydney! South Sydney! South Sydney! South Sydney! Go! Go! Yes! 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 Go! Yeah! Yeah! Good on you, Joy! Let's go, boys! South Sydney! South Sydney! South Sydney! South Sydney! Go! Go! Yes! Yes! G'day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the YouTube channel. My name is Cody, and today I'm here to give you a type of video which I've already done on the channel before. In today's video, I will be giving you my round 1 NRL fixture if I was in charge of the NRL. Now, we are roughly around 2-ish weeks away from the draw officially coming out, or just under. It usually comes out in mid-November, roughly. Came on the 11th or 12th of November last year, so it should come around that time frame. So why not get into this type of video, and let's see what games we get correct and what games will compare to the actual draw. So this is just a fun concept that I started on the channel last year, and a few other creators have done this type of video as well. So shout out to all of them who have done this before. But anyways, guys, before we get into the video, don't forget, if you guys are new around here, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Turning that subscribe button really helps out, put more quality content out, and recommends and helps out with the algorithm. So if you guys can do that, please subscribe to the channel. The goal is to reach 2,000 subscribers. We're only just over 300 subscribers away from reaching that goal. So if you can do that, guys, that'll be very appreciated. Now, we're going into a new season, 2025. Teams will either do worse or better, or they could do the same. So some of these fixtures I have selected may not be the best, but we don't know until the actual season kicks off. There's been a lot of recruitment already in the off-season. New players going to new teams, old players going to their old teams, or etc. So there'll be new combinations across all of the 17 teams to start off next year. Now, disclaimer, I will not be including the Vegas game. So Panthers, Sharks, and the Warriors, Raiders, I will not be including those 4 teams. Those two games have already been locked in and confirmed for the dates to open up round 1 technically, but it's going to be a split round. So after those 2 games play, then we'll start back in Australia, starting on the Thursday night game. So I will follow the same time slot that this year started. So 1 Thursday game, 2 Fridays, 2 Saturdays, and 1 Sunday. No 3 p.m. game, as that's around this time of year in March, start of March. It's going to be hot, so it's grabbing the 3 o'clock game, and that should return when it's round 2, or we'll see how we go. But anyways, guys, with that out of the way, let's dive into the video. And before we get into the Thursday one, now usually you want to start off with a banger game, like a rivalry game or close to a rivalry. Now these fixtures I've selected are good to say the best, but it was really hard to come up with them. And the first fixture I have come up with, starting on the Thursday, 7:50 p.m, so opening up in Australia. On 7:50 p.m, I've gone the Parramatta Eels taking on the Newcastle Knights at CommBank Stadium. Now, Parramatta have been in the last season openers across the last few seasons, particularly against the Dogs, and that's the rivalry game, or big rivalry run. But I've gone with something a bit different in the Newcastle Knights. Now, the Knights don't usually have a season open that often. I mean, they open up in Australia against the Raiders at the start of this year in the elimination final rematch, which that was a great game to start off with. And so I've gone Parramatta Knights, and obviously Eels, they've already lost a few players, and with the Knights, they've got all sorts at the moment as well. So it's an okay game to start off with. Not the best, but I can only go with what I could go because, well, it was very tough to pick all these teams and who I think should play for each time slot as well. So I've gone the Eels taking on the Knights at CommBank. You should get a good crowd on a Thursday. Thursday nights are not usually the biggest crowds, but should get around at least 15 to 20,000, and the Newcastle Knights fans will be willing to travel down to CommBank Stadium. Alright, now we move into our two Friday fixtures. The first one kicking off at 6 p.m. The Friday 6 p.m. game is usually the quieter game before we head into the big game for the 8 p.m. one. But with this one, it may seem like a snooze fest to one team, but given that this team has recruited a lot of great players from the premiership winning team, I think this could turn out to be a decent game to say the least, although against the runner-ups from last year's probably not the best. But for the 6 p.m. game, I've gone with the three-peat Wooden Spooners, the West Tigers taking on this year's runner-ups, the Melbourne Storm, who lost to the Panthers in the 2024 Grand Final. Now, obviously, this will not be, you may consider this maybe a flogging game towards Melbourne, as Storm usually tend to flog shit teams like the Tigers, but Tigers have gotten a few players, and also funny enough, one of the best West Tigers players, it's a Stefano Utekamanu, has actually signed with the Storm for the next few seasons, and back in 2020, Harry Grant was playing with the West Tigers as well. So you got the history with the players between the Storm and the Tigers. So there's something to take into account. So 6 p.m. game going the Tigers and the Storm may not be the best game to watch, but I think it will turn out to be a decent game. And I've got this game also at Campbelltown, because Storm usually tend to play at Campbelltown more than Leichhardt. So it was just hard to choose a venue because why not? But yes, so I've gone Tigers versus Storm for 6 p.m. Friday. Alrighty, now we move on to our 8 p.m. Friday game, the main event. Now, disclaimer, this will include the Broncos for this one, but I reckon this game is going to turn out to be potentially one of the games of the round for if I was in charge, and I reckon this will turn out to be a great game because this game right here features two Queensland teams who have started something fierce in between. It's also a battle of the city that they play in. Of course, I am talking about the Broncos taking on the Dolphins in the Battle of Brisbane, the newest rivalry in the NRL. And what comes off with better with this one is Dolphins actually got their first win over the Broncos, flogging them, I think it was 40 points to 6 or something similar, to get their first win over the Broncos in the second last round of 2024, which, going to that game, didn't expect that to happen, but bloody hell, that was a shocking thing to see. But you'll get a sellout of 50,000 or something around there, which some call holes, and starting off with a big even though it's the newest rivalry, it will turn out to be a big rivalry in the coming years. So Broncos versus Dolphins, great turnout for this one, and former players playing against each other as well from both clubs. So, and this will be great for viewership, and Broncos will always get the 8 p.m. game regardless. I'll be surprised if they do not get the 8 p.m. slot time for round one next year. So the Battle of Brisbane, the first of two games, because they're guaranteed to play each other twice next year. Broncos versus Dolphins, 8 p.m. at Suncorp. Broncos as the home team. Alright, now we move into our two Saturday games. Now there will be no 3 p.m. game as the weather will be too hot for teams to play. So they're going to skip 3 p.m. and that will come in the next round 2 or 3 or something around there. Now for this game, this is a bit of a rivalry game as well, but it's not really much of a rivalry these days, If you go back to the 50s, and 70s, for sure, yes, but not really much these days. And as a supporter of the club, so spoiler, I can agree with it. Not much of a rivalry these days. I've got 5:30 p.m. For this one, I have gone with the St George Illawarra Dragons versing my team, the South Sydney Rabbitohs, at WIN Stadium this time, not Cogra. We haven't played at WIN Stadium against the Dragons since 2022, and we've played at Cogra for the last 2 seasons, so I think we should change it up a bit and play at WIN Stadium as well. And I would love to experience being at WIN Stadium as a Rabbit supporter. Now, obviously, I did go to WIN Stadium early in the year, but that was for a neutral game between Manly and Dragons. And although that was an okay game, I would love to go to WIN Stadium more often because I reckon it's the better of the two grounds than Cogra. Now, like you got the big hill on the eastern side with the beach in the background as well. So seeing a live game of footy or on TV with the beach in the background is just pure amazing. And Saturday 5:30 will definitely fit that time slot good. And with the sun setting in the west around like 6 o'clock or something like that, that will not just for good viewership, but a good game, but also beautiful sunsets and a great atmosphere or around the ground, like a beautiful scenery as well. So, and as for the game between these two, I reckon these two could pull out a good game. Now, Damien Cook, former Rabbits player, he's going back to his junior club, the Dragons, funny enough as well. I think he was a junior for the Dragons, I'm not sure. I believe he was. If I'm incorrect. But Damien Cook playing against his former club, against the Rabbitohs, I reckon that would be a stellar game. And where he will play, most likely at hooker, he will play most likely, or on the bench. It'll be interesting to see Cook against his former club, and I will love that to experience. So, Dragons versus Rabbitohs, 5:30 at WIN Stadium. Alright, now we move into our 7:35 game, the other Saturday game, and the second last fixture to read over. There's only 5 teams left, and there's 2 games left, so one of the teams will be very unlucky for this one. Now, for this one, this team right here will be celebrating its 30th year being in the NRL, debuting back in 1995. Although they had a shit year, they've been one of the most consistent clubs in the last 15 years, in my opinion, anyway. And the best Queensland team, if I was following Queensland team, this team would definitely be the one. So we're going to Townsville. We are going to Queensland Country Bank Stadium. We've got the North Queensland Cowboys taking on a team who made the top 4 and a lot of experience gone, and a team I despise a lot. Of course, I've got the North Queensland Cowboys taking on the Sydney Roosters at Queensland Country Bank Stadium at 7:35 p.m. Now, at this point, this time will actually be a 6:35 game in Queensland, because by then it'll still be daylight savings. Daylight savings will not end until the first Sunday of April, and Queensland does not follow daylight savings either. And I forgot to mention as well, the game for Broncos Dolphins, if I selected, would be 7 p.m. in Queensland, not 8 p.m. But still kick off at 8 p.m. our time. But same for this one. I reckon this would turn out to be an excellent game between the two. These two played a phenomenal game against each other. In round 13, the Cowboys came back to win by a few points, and no one gave the Cowboys a chance in that one. They had up to 6 players out for Origin. So did the Roosters, but they had less. And Roosters were just they were just improper in that game, and they lost to a team who they should have beaten and should have finished off, but they didn't. So I reckon a rematch between the two, it'll put on a better quality game up at Queensland Country Bank Stadium. I definitely think this will definitely be a great time slot, and it'll definitely fit the Cowboys, as they would prefer to play at 5:30 or 7:35 up there at Queensland Country Bank Stadium. So Cowboys versus Roosters, Cowboys 30th anniversary, why not? And so yeah, Cowboys versus Roosters, 7:35. And now we move into our final game, our final fixture, Sunday 4 o'clock, no 2 p.m, no 6 p.m game, because 2 p.m games will not be part until daylight savings is over when we go back to standard time, so like around 5 or 6, and there'll be no 6 p.m game either, because obviously the Vegas games. But from round 2 onwards to around 5 or 6, it'll be 4 p.m and 6 p.m games. Once we start from round 2. So for this one, yeah, I reckon I would go with a big game, especially what these two teams had played in the second last round and the final. So, and you will get a great crowd in this venue as well. So for 4 p.m, I've gone with the elimination final rematch between the Manly Warringah Sea Eagles and the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs from 4 Pines Park for a Sunday 4 o'clock game. The hill at Manly's going to fill up. You'll have a sellout there. These two will put on a phenomenal, just like they did in the elimination final, and Manly beating the Dogs as well in round 26 from this year as well. So I reckon this will be a great turnout. Two big Sydney clubs from this year who both made the finals, and your great viewership and a well-deserved free airtime slot as well. So I've gone with Manly versus Bulldogs for a 4 o'clock fixture, and it's going to be a great turnout and potentially the game of the round, in my opinion. But if I was select round in my round 1 video. And as for the bye, there's only one team left. I've gone the Gold Coast Titans. I just had to select the team, and I thought I'll just go with the Titans, because just why not? And one team had to be selected. So that's all my 6 games in the bye. So I will go through the games just one more time if you just missed out. So for the Thursday game, I've gone 7:50 p.m. Eels vs Knights, 6 p.m. Friday, West Tigers vs Storm, Eels vs Knights at CommBank, and West Tigers vs Storm at Campbelltown. For Broncos Dolphins, 8 p.m. at Suncorp, Dragons vs Rabbitohs, 5:30 Saturday at Wynn Stadium. Cowboys versus Roosters, 7:35 p.m. in Townsville at Queensland Country Bank Stadium. And of course, for a 4 o'clock game Sunday, I've gone with Manly Sea Eagles versus Bulldogs in the elimination final rematch at 4 Pines Park. And for the bye, obviously went to the Gold Coast Titans. So if you guys agree with that, if you like it or don't like it, that's okay. Comment down below what you think of it. But pretty much that's going to wrap up the video here. Don't forget, guys, to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new around here, and turn on that bell notification so you get notified when a video gets put out or when I go live on YouTube. Anyways, guys, that's going to wrap it up here. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Comment down below what you think of it, and come up with your very own round 1 draw if you were in charge. We are around 2 weeks away or so from the draw officially coming out, and of course, yours truly, me, I will be doing a live reaction of the 2025 NRL Draw when that comes out eventually. Anyways, guys, thank you for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.